strictly off the fact of, I love you and I want to see you save your life and I hope you get better. What repayment did they get when he would sober up and be like, yeah, I just don't want this shit with you anymore? If you enjoy reading memoirs, this might be a very good book for you to check out. This book is by Matthew Perry. It is titled Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. I listened to this audiobook on Libby, and when I first saw it, I was excited. Unfortunately, by then he had already passed away. Rest in peace to him. This book was on hold for some months, okay? Run fast and place this book on hold on Libby if you're not going to outright buy it, because I promise you, depending on your library, you might not be able to read this book for about 2-3 months, just like how I wasn't able to. It just was on hold that much. This book made me realize you never know what a person's going through. You never know how much a person is having to juggle just to make it to work that day, how much they're having to go through to make it to the next day. You can have family and friends surrounding you, and they can never know how deep you are in addiction if you're doing a decent job at hiding it. Now, sometimes it probably does get to a point where if you're drinking that much, people will probably be able to smell it on you, even on the days when you didn't come to work drunk. This book was so sad, and I think the reason why it was sad for me was because if you've personally battled addiction, or if you've ever watched someone that you absolutely loved and adored succumb to addiction or succumb to the havoc it's wreaked on their bodies over the years, I think that is one of the hardest things to watch. Matthew did an extremely good job at discussing how his issue with drinking, his issue with these pills he was taking, how it just wrecked everything around him. There would be times where he would be so high or so out of his mind, he wouldn't even realize what he was signing himself up for. Out of a fear of abandonment, and it started with his father just up and leaving when they were young. His father and his mother decided to split, and the father ups and decides to move across the country. He drops them off at Niagara Falls to meet with his grandfather. If you're not aware, Niagara Falls is in New York. It's a very beautiful place. Go visit it. The father drops them off there, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go start my life off anew. I'm going to go be an actor. I'm moving out to California. And I'm not going to say that's a thing that men don't do today. They do it. But I think that men were doing that at a way higher rate back then. And to an extent, it was a lot more acceptable almost. Like, it was almost, oh, your father just has to go find himself. We're going to be patient with him. Whereas today, you'll see women putting up Facebook posts and putting that man on Front Street like, hey, my baby father is a piece of blank and he abandoned me and his children. I'm not going to say if that approach is right, but all I'm saying is, when people have these children and y'all get y'all behinds on these planes and y'all move across the country, or y'all decide, you know what, I'm going to move 3 blocks up the street and I'm going to start a new family with Susie, you guys are signing these kids up for a life of abandonment issues. And if you do not get these children into therapy at a young enough age to the point where it can curtail some of those issues and put a stop to it, you are signing your child up for a lifetime of trauma. It is no joke. Matthew developed such abandonment issues that it was insane. The man literally got so high that when he thought his relationship was coming to an end, he goes out, buys an engagement ring, proposes to his girlfriend, is so happy that they're engaged. A week later, he don't even remember doing the shit. Can you imagine going to that length? Imagine being the girlfriend or the fiance that feels like you're engaged to the love of your life. You done sat by him through all types of stuff. And now he's like, I don't even remember proposing to you. What the hell should I do with the ring in the meantime? Another thing that this book taught me was the way that Matthew had he had a lot of people in his corner, okay? He had a lot of people in his corner that were willing to sit with him through his addiction. He had his father, who sometimes would come and sit with him to try and help sober him up, despite his father not knowing that Matthew had a stash of pills upstairs. There were countless women willing to be by his side and help him work through it. Now, were some of those women probably there strictly off the strength of Matthew Perry being Matthew Perry? Absolutely. If you know that your boyfriend has money or whatever and you have the potential to marry in, I'm sure some of those women were there for their own selfish reasons. Now, for the other women that were there strictly off the fact of, I love you and I want to see you save your life and I hope you get better, what repayment did they get when he would sober up and be like, yeah, I just don't want this shit with you anymore? This book taught me a lot of things. It reminded me of more things. Do not sit around in these relationships waiting for someone's potential to come to fruition. You are signing up for a thankless job. You are signing up for a job that you don't know what the outcome's going to be. And what happens when the outcome that you were praying for happens, but they decide they don't want your ass no more? Sometimes when people sober up, when people get better jobs, when they move into better communities, when they have access to more resources, they don't want you no more. They don't want you. You remind them of the trenches. You remind them of the past. You remind them of when they had to survive off of noodles in college. They don't want you. Now they have access to better resources. Sometimes when people move up in different places in life or their paradigm shift, you no longer fit the cookie cutter image that was perfectly fine for when their asses were starving. And unfortunately, I feel bad for every single woman in this book that they love this man. They really loved him. And many of them really wanted him to get better. And his addiction took over. If you have a loved one that either struggled with addiction previously, this may be a good book to give them. Not in a way of like, hey, look how you guys effed up our lives. Look at how this and that. I think this was a very good call to action type of book. If you want to know what it's like to struggle with any addiction, whether you're a workaholic, whether you get high on the weekends, you drink on the weekends till you don't know your name, this is a very, very good book to read. I listened to it while I was on a flight. I took a trip to Myrtle Beach, and I flew from Myrtle Beach to Charlotte, and then from Charlotte back to my town. This book was 8 hours. Took 8 hours to listen to. There was not a point in this book where I wasn't shocked. I wasn't aware of some of the things that were happening on Friends. I wasn't aware of how much by chance he got on Friends. He literally almost was not on it. I think this book also gave me a good background of what happens in showbiz and what happens behind the scenes. I always just thought, people audition, they sit down, you guys do a few rehearsals, you go record it, we're on to the next episode. I wasn't privy to some of the background things of you might audition several times, then you might be waiting for months to get an answer. You might sign up for another show in the meantime, and if you don't already sign a contract for another show, when the one that you really want comes around, you might not be able to actually do it because you didn't sign up for this bullshit show that no one's actually even going to pick up. This was a very good book. I feel like it was a good read after I listened to that memoir that Jeanette McCurdy did, that I'm Glad My Mom Died. That video is already up. I've already done the book review. Those two together, if you guys could recommend other books to me that are going to be memoirs like that are going to shock me. I like memoirs that shock me. I don't want to hear a boring memoir. I don't give a damn about your boring college experience and how you met this person, whatever. Some of y'all books don't be that interesting. And that's mean to say, but fuck it, I'm going to say it. Some of these memoirs that people put out there, they're only interesting to your friends and family. And that sounds horrible. And you know what? I don't care. I'm an author. People feel that way about my books too. My books are not everybody's cup of tea. So that's perfectly fine for me to say. It is a revolving thing. That is a part of being a reader and being a writer. You have to be receptive to the feedback. Now, would I go up to someone and tell them, like, your book was so trash? No, I'm not going to do that. Will I maybe still read another book by that author? Maybe if it's a book of fiction and if I can see where you're going. But if your book is in left field, I probably won't pick up another book by you. I'm sorry. Matthew Perry did a very beautiful job with this book. Drop other recommendations below. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the follow, share, subscribe button. I make videos like this all the time. and I really enjoy them. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed with marketing your book? Imagine having a team of experts dedicated to promoting your work while you focus on what you love, writing. Our book promoting services are designed to alleviate the stress of marketing and allow you to reach a wider audience. With our tailored strategies and proven results, we can help you to boost your book sales and visibility in the book community and crowded market. Let us take care of the promotional efforts while you concentrate on what you do best, crafting your next bestseller. Alleviate and elevate your author brand and stand out in the competitive world of publishing with our services that are specialized in marketing solutions. Partner with us and watch your book soar to new heights.